Hey ladies and gents, we're back with some Avorion, and we are talking about setting up a base, or what I call it nowadays. Back day was base, but now I guess pretty much call it systems. Now I have a couple of requirements when I'm building them, and I'm just gonna kind of give you what I think is what works for me most of the time. I'm not saying it's you. Of course, everybody does what the fuck they want anyway. I'm just giving you a little bit of, this is what I do. So we're talking. This is going to be a couple part series. I went back and watched my old one where I talked about that one made me yawn. I was like, Jesus, fuck, this guy's gonna shut up after 45 minutes. But anyway, that was 4 or 5 years ago. I'm a little bit more smooth now, so we're gonna work on just doing the location first. We'll do a couple of little videos here: location, defense, economics, that kind of stuff. So with that said, let's jump into where we're looking at what we're doing here. And typically, if you've ever watched my videos, I usually follow a wormhole chain from iron, titanium to neonite to trinium to xanium, and that kind of pretty much sticks me where I'm going to put my systems at, my bases. The first one, I usually never build one back here first, or in this region, the titanium iron region. I usually always start here either in the neonite or the trinium. This one was the first one I started out here. This was, of course, the neonite region because I got my shields here, which makes me more powerful than half the map. So now I can go back here and fuck shit up, take all the stuff, steal all kind of stuff. So I'm around this area for quite a while. So put a base there. Same way with trinium. Trinium is the most important material in the game besides Avorion, for at least for the shipbuilding part of it. So I have one here in the trinium. This also tends to be way better sales. I don't know. Ask me why. I'm gonna cover that in the economic videos. But yeah, so these are my first two. This one, and then I worked my way up into try to get up into the trinium. Of course, I'm following wormholes as I do it. So they're either in between the two wormholes here, or right here they're in between two wormholes, or this one's a little bit past the end because I was at right almost to the barrier anyway. So I didn't want to put one there. I wanted to put up here. So this one's different than the other three. These are economics. This one's a tech base, based solely on the fact is you get the best tech as you go from tech 5 out here to tech 52 in here. So this is tech 36. Best place to put turret factories outside of the barrier, turret factories, and of course equipment docks. I always put equipment dock in there. I might actually put multiple equipment docks in there to see if I can pick up better fighters, better systems. Now that I'm a multi-billionaire now, I can just buy that shit, right? I don't need to do whatever. And of course, once you get up in this area, it's all about mining for the most part. So yeah, but when you're in here, you're going to be mining neonite, you're going to be mining trinium. That's what you're going to do. Like I said, I usually follow wormholes, so that's kind of key for me is to follow that wormhole, put a base relatively close, go to the next spot, put another base at the end of each one of them wormholes. It could be in an open sector, it can be not, can be in a open sector, or it can be in, of course, a sector that has a bunch of asteroids and mines, whatever you want to do. Second thing I'm looking for here is when I do this is edge of a faction. Typically, if I put it inside the faction, there's less materials and less claimable asteroids. You get on the outside action right here, there's just tons of yellow blips, and they usually have far more unclaimed asteroids than you find inside of a faction. So I typically try to hang that edge right on the edge of a faction so I can work this area out. There also seems to be more materials like trinium and titanium and iron and that stuff in the asteroid fields out here. I mean, there's stuff in here, don't get me wrong, but it seems for the most part much better here. And also, if you're doing the mining missions, you can of course drop your miner into this area. I believe decreases your chances of being ambushed. So that's always something to remember. And you're also close enough all of the time here that you can run up to a docks to pick up either equipment or just about anything, because they're relatively close. So that's why I always try to stay on this edge of that system, or whatever system I'm working on here. So like I said, you can see each one of the bases are generally right on the edge, and work it at that. So like I said, wormholes, then of course edges of this of factions, and of course there's the economic part of it. Now economics is not near as big a deal as most people make it to be. It just depends on how lazy you want to be. You can make economics stations work anywhere here. We'll do that, of course, in the economic video before we get away. before I start rambling on about more bullshit, right? So we're already 5 minutes into this, and you guys are like, "Fuck, doesn't he want to shut up yet?" Okay, but the last reason, really honestly, the reasons why I put it the way they put it, like here, is artifact farming. So now, if you're not familiar with the game yet, you have that find 8 artifacts, get you into the center of the galaxy. So this is a you can do this multiple times. You don't have to do it just once. So these artifacts give you ships huge bonuses, and you want to farm them. So you want to redo the mission over and over again. So right here we got Boss Swak. I literally jump out of this. Boss Swak is right here. AI AI is right here. This one's Trinium, so this is obviously just for the material wise of it. And then of course up here we have the 4, the Mad Scientist, and of course Botan the Smuggler. So when I'm farming, I don't like to take, if I'm up here doing shit, I don't like to take my one ship, jump it all the way back here. So I build a ship here for Boss Walk, build one here for the AI, build one here for the rest of it. So I have 3 ships that I can just jump in, farm the deal, 10 minutes when I first get on the game, and I'm done. Those 5 systems make a big difference in your ships. So they're super, they're kind of important, just a little bit. They're kind of important. So with that said, like I said, first 2 here. This one's a tech base. I also make the trailer on the end here back in the titanium and iron. This is if you're really big into raiding, farming, factions, taking over stations like that. I like to have a place where I can dump my material, my misbegotten material that I've stolen. So I'm working on this region right up here. I'm just slowly eradicating him, taking all of his shit, taking all of his stations, and of course working it up the chain. If I need stations up here, mines, whatever, I just keep working it up the chain. But it's a lot easier to take stations back here with, say, like 100 borders versus 400 or 500. Plus, defense-wise, these are really easy. You're only going to get a smattering of ships compared to the other side. So, it's one of those deals, and that's why I always like to use the wormholes as my conduit from the easy to the more difficult. So with that said, if you guys have questions about any of this stuff, jump into my Discord. My Discord, of course, is posted on the About part in my YouTube. So yeah, give me a shout out what you think of how I set up a system or set up a base. The next one's going to be defense. How are you going to defend your base or defend your system? So with that said, guys, have a good night.